Guys, I almost can't reach around this bag. It is so big. So Ohuhu just sent me the biggest set of markers that I've ever seen. I mean, look at this chunky guy. This is their largest set yet. 320 markers. I mean, look at all these colors that I can just use for art. I mean, what else? If you watched my videos before, or if you watched any other YouTube artists, you might be familiar with Ohuhu. Basically, they make good quality art supplies to a decent price, which makes them super affordable for beginners, but also for pros such as myself. But yeah, as we can see, here we have all the delicious markers, and they are divided into different sections. So I guess if you want to, you could sort them after colors, which I would love to do. I just like sorting things, but I'm pretty sure it would take me all day. So this set contains, as I mentioned, 320 markers. I usually work with the brush markers, but these are actually their bullet tip markers, and I got a very fine and pointy bullet tip, which I like, and also a chisel nib. They got a very interesting design on both caps, like a little, I don't know what it's called, like a little in there. Ooh, it looks like we got some fluorescent colors in here. And we also got a colorless blender. We also got a little protective plastic sheet that you can put under the paper that you're drawing on. And we also got a color swatch card. Actually, we got 2, 3, 4 swatch cards that you can fill in yourself so that you will see what the different colors looks like. And if you would like to get these markers yourself, I will have a link in the description box below. I am not sponsored, I just like Ohuhu's products and I'm very happy to share them with you. Yeah, let's make some art. Did you know that this pencil is actually a wand for summoning cat paws? Yeah, of course Phoenix is helping me as usual. Also, don't forget to wish him happy birthday. I actually can't believe that he's turning 1 year. He's become so big. You're a big kitty. Anyway, I want to draw something cute maybe. Maybe a pumpkin. Oh, that's a terrible pumpkin. Is this what you call procrastinating? What? I don't know what to draw. Maybe I want to draw a cat. What else? With a little witch hat? No. Nope. Nope. A little witch hat? No. Maybe I can make like 3 little witchy Halloween inspired pieces. Maybe I just want to make something a little bigger and just cram in a bunch of details. Maybe if I make like a little Halloween island, or like, I don't know, not Halloween maybe, but maybe something a little spooky cat, like a floating island with a tree on it. Love to draw that. Pumpkins, giant mushrooms, of course, and then there can just be cats everywhere. So this will be a very busy illustration where I can add a bunch of these colors. Oh, maybe some cat ghost. Then maybe I can add some interesting effect with a ghost so that they look see-through. I think this will be fun actually. What do you say, Phoenix? Also, something that I think would be super fun, I didn't really have time for it this week. If I could use all of these markers, all 320 in one illustration, I think that would be a super fun challenge, but I'm just doing it if you want to, so make sure to leave a like on this video, maybe leave a comment. If this video gets enough likes, maybe I will do a 320 marker illustration. But first, let's try to turn this very rough sketch into some sort of illustration that I can color with the Ohuhu markers. So yeah, let's do that. Yay! Jesus. Alright, so as I mentioned, I wanted to make an illustration with a bunch of details. I had an idea of an isolated world, or like a miniature world on a floating island. I've done many floating islands. I'm not sure why I find them so visually pleasing or so much fun to do, but I just do. So this is like a little spooky island with a bunch of black cats living there. I think this is where all the witch familiar cats hang out before they choose their companion witch. I also add some ghost kitties, which aren't visible yet, but I think they really added an interesting element to this piece. And I think this illustration is turning out super cute. I just had so much fun sketching it. So, I couldn't help myself. I just had to sort the markers, but look how cute this is. I think it will be a lot easier to find certain colors. I also filled in all the swatch cards, of course, and I'm actually very happy that I filled in the swatch cards, because if you see the color on the cap, it can look very different from the actual colors. If you're looking for a specific color, it is better to look in the swatch cards and then pick the markers. And I did actually swatch a few of the colors wrong. I was swatching the CG grays, which I thought was cool gray, but it is apparently neutral gray. And I swatched the CG 80, and then I found another CG 80 that I hadn't swatched, so then I realized that I had swatched the GG 80 on the CG one. As you can see, the CG and the GG is very similar, so that is something to keep in mind. But yeah, it is so satisfying seeing all the swatch cards and see all the colors in color order. I love that. Anyway, now we got that done. Let's finally color this piece. You saw me draw this on the iPad, and now I printed it on a thick Bristol board that is perfect with markers. Also, this will be available as a coloring page on my Patreon, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, Phoenix said, let's get started. I decided to draw in the ghost kitties by hand with a pencil, a blue pencil, because I didn't want them with harsh outlines. I want them to look see-through, like I suppose ghosts are. So when starting coloring this little spooky cat island, finally, I was so grateful for past me for spending 1.5 hours sorting and swatching the markers, because it turned out to be very helpful. The swatch cards shows the real representation of the colors, so if I want a specific green color, I can find it on the card, look up the color code, and since I have sorted the markers after turn, I know exactly in which section to search for it, so even if it took a little time to arrange them, it probably saved me a lot of time in the long run. And sure, you can see the color on the cap, but I've noticed that the colors on the caps can be very different from the actual color of the ink, so my recommendation, even if it is a little time consuming, is to swatch the markers, sort them, and you will thank yourself later. I haven't drawn with bullet tip markers in a long time now. I usually work with brush markers, but I used to draw with bullet tip markers all the time before, so it felt very natural, almost a little nostalgic. And these bullet tips are very fine and pointy, which is a great complement to the chisel tip. Actually, when working with bullet/chisel tip markers, I use the chisel tip about 80% of the time, unless it is a very small area. The chisel tip just gives a more nice and even coverage, and it is a lot faster filling in an area than with a bullet tip. So even if I am a big fan of brush markers, I had so much fun using these, and I didn't miss the brush tip at all when working on this illustration. I think that brush tips and bullet tips and chisel tips all have their pros and cons. It is all about preferences and what kind of effect or look that you want to achieve, so there really isn't one that is better than another. It is all about personal preferences. And I know that I've been talking many times about how you don't need a lot of art supplies to make good art, and as you've seen here, this is a lot of art supplies. So does one really need all of these markers? To be honest, not really. You can do a lot with a lot less colors, but is it nice and also convenient to have all of these colors to choose from? Well, of course it is. Unlike watercolors where you can mix all the colors that you want pretty much, it is a lot harder to make new colors with markers. It is doable, but it can be very tricky to mix a color if you need a specific tone. Having many variations of the same color usually makes the blending a little easier since you have all of these in between tones, but it isn't necessary. With this set you definitely have a lot to choose from, which as I said is very convenient and helpful. Also, all necessity aside, who wouldn't want to have many markers? 17-year-old me would have given almost anything to have a set like this. So I was thinking a little about the ghosts. I was thinking about their backstory. I mentioned that this island could be home to the witch familiar cats before they become actual familiars, but then we have the ghosts and they could be familiars returning back to the island to become new kitties, or just to protect and watch over the already existing ones, maybe teach them how to become familiars, who really knows. And I have to pat myself on the back because I managed to not color over any of the ghost kitties by accident. I wanted to keep them white or uncolored until I've done the rest of the coloring. I wanted to add like a similar effect as in my fox illustration that I did in my last video, I think, where I illustrated the light coming from a lantern by using lighter versions of the colors around the light, I suppose. So I wanted to do something similar here to illustrate the transparency of the ghost, and I have to say I really like how it all turned out, the whole drawing. I wanted a colorful and cute illustration, so I tried to use bright colors, but I didn't want it too bright, so I also tried to keep it fairly muted in tone, like earthy, colorful. By the end I went over the whole illustration with a light purple color just to tone down some of the areas and just to tie it all together to make it more cohesive. I really love how this illustration turned out anyway. It was so much fun working with markers again. It feels like it's been a hot minute since I did marker art. I've done so much digital art lately, which I love, but it is also very nice to get back to the actual drawing table, getting my hands dirty. Literally, I always get ink all over my fingers. By the end, I added some finishing touches with color pencils and white ink. I used color pencils to add a little bit of glow to the eyes of the cats just to make them more magical, and I also used a white pencil to tone down the line art going behind the ghost just to add to the transparent see-through effect. I added some stars and highlights with a white ink, and I really love this ink. I think it is from Senlier, or however you pronounce it. It is acrylic ink and it is so opaque and good. And yeah, I'm so happy with how this turned out, and I had so much fun working with markers. Also, don't forget to leave a like and maybe a comment on this video if you would like to see me use all of these markers, all 320 in one single illustration. I think it would be quite a challenge, but I won't do it unless you want me to. Anyway, thanks Ohuhu for the markers, and thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Keep drawing my happy cats. Bye!